Hello, everybody. We are very happy to meet you online this evening or this afternoon, or some of you you're during the night. We hope that all of you are safe. Of course, that's the most important. And I would like to thank Professor Mitev and also Frederic who organized this webinar. This webinar will be divided in two parts. The first one is about the presentation of the DBA, and the second one is about the question that you will ask to us. Maybe first of all, Frederic, we can specify some
so just a few things.
details.
Yes, sorry. So just a few things before we start. Just for you to know, the microphones are turned off for you, but you can hear us. And if you have any questions, you've got to use the Q&A section, and then you can type your question, and we will happily answer it. Just to know, the webinar is recorded. So we will send you at the end of the presentation, the PPT, as well as the recording. Okay, so we can start now the presentation.
Thank you, Frederic. Okay. First word about the Business Science Institute. The Business Science Institute today, it's around 140 executive DBA students, 57 theses have been defended during 4 to 5 years. But this program was originally created in 2013 for one reason. We wanted to answer a demand of MBA graduate, MBA or equivalent, with professional experience. And these graduates, they wanted to develop their experience through an academic and theoretical reflection. They wanted to step back. They wanted to help to, they wanted to work on a topic they are close to, thanks to their field, thanks to the industry where they are working. And they wanted to write a thesis, and eventually, potentially, they wanted to publish this thesis. That was the reason why we created Business Science Institute, and that's why the reason why we created this DBA. We consider that it is a specific DBA for manager. It has been organized for managers. We have today 3 delivery modes of this DBA. It is nearly the same degree, but we have 3 delivery modes. The first mode is face-to-face executive DBA, organized in French, in German, but tonight we are talking about those organized in English. In Paris, we will open a new group in Paris in June, at the end of the month of June in 2020. And we have also groups in English in Geneva, Bangkok, Shanghai. Yeah, that's right. And in German in Frankfurt, and in French in different countries. The first delivery mode is face-to-face. The second delivery mode is digital executive DBA in English, totally in English, organized with the Schema Business School. Schema Business School is an international business school with 6 campuses around the world and with 3 international accreditation. And then the third delivery mode is executive DBA à distance in French.
There's a question, Michel.
We've got a question, Michel. I don't know if you want to answer it now. But someone is asking if you plan to open a group in Paris end of June. Will you do this possible because, so if we open a group in end of June in Paris because of the COVID crisis, would it be possible to do it?
Yeah, we will see. No, nobody knows the future and what will be the situation in Paris at the end of June. But if we cannot begin face-to-face, we will begin with distance tools. We already organized 11 distance seminar in 1 month in different countries. So if it is not possible to open it face-to-face, we will do it in a remote mode, or maybe we will do it with a blended solution. Some students can be in Paris and other one can, if they cannot move for legal reason, for example, visa or something like that, we can begin for them on distance learning. So anyway, we will open it. Okay, that's clear? Nathalie, maybe you can answer to that important question.
Okay, so the degree you will get is an executive doctorate in business administration, whatever the delivery form. And the way the program is structured is on 3 years. So you have a first year where either face-to-face or digitally, or possibly a mix, if the crisis continues for the face-to-face versions. So you have the first year roughly where you take core seminars, which are organized in a logical way. So there's introductions about the thesis, there's courses about particular research in particular management areas, and there's also methodology courses, qualitative and quantitative methodology courses. So those are the core seminars. Whilst you do that, as you progress through those courses, your research project will get refined, and the more input you get from the courses, the more you will become more aware of what you can do. And whilst you do that, the teaching team starts thinking about a research supervisor for you, who would be appropriate in terms of your topic and in terms of your methodological choice. For the digital DBA, you, at the end of the first year or thereabout, you can also get a certificate of research in business administration, which is awarded by the BSI and UTS, University of Technology Sydney Business School, which is also accredited. So that's a step which helps you put together a fully formed, if you want, research proposal, which will be your thesis. And for doing this major piece of work, then you get the certificate, which is a kind of intermediate degree, but which is a kind of certification of that, the fact that you progressed and you're moving towards the thesis and you're capable of doing the thesis. In the second year, there's no courses, but there's seminars when you get feedback on your proposal and help in terms of producing, carrying out your research and writing it. And you, so those are seminars which are organized 3 times a year. And you also get monthly feedback from your supervisor whilst you're carrying out your research in order to then write the thesis. And in the third year is dedicated to writing the thesis. At some point, whilst you, when you finished your thesis, we organize a preliminary viva presentation to rehearse and get feedback. and in order to prepare you for the final Viva, which after which you then awarded the DBA by the BSI and the Lyon University, which is one of our main partners. That's for the face-to-face and the French version, but for the digital version, you get the degree from Schema School, Business School as well.
And maybe we can specify also that the presentation of the certificate and the defense of the thesis are organized every year, the last week of September in the Castle of Wiltz in Europe.
So this we call the International Week, during which also certificate presentations, Viva presentations, as well as supervisory seminars are organized. For the supervisory seminars, you get feedback from 2 academics, 2 professors, not your supervisor, 2 other academics, which provide you with oral and written feedback. Someone has asked a question about what happens if you don't finish the thesis in 3 years. The timing, particularly on the digital DBA, but I think it's probably the case for the other versions, is once you've done the courses on the face-to-face, the time you take for doing the 2nd and the 3rd year will very much depend on your progress, on how you get on with it in terms of access to your fieldwork, how that kind of evolves. So the deadlines are not strict, apart from the International Week, which is the time where that's the time where everybody meets. When we all meet in September in Luxembourg for the International Week, this is a major event because there's, I don't know the numbers, but there's usually about 50 professors and about 100 students.
Yeah, that's true. Last year it was 55 professors, if I remember well, and 90 doctorate students.
And this is also where the graduation takes place. This is where we award the certificates and the doctorate. In terms of the timing, this is also entirely up to you in collaboration with your supervisor and with the rest of the research team and the teaching team. For instance, on the digital DBA, someone who was one of the early candidates did his certificate about 2 years ago in Luxembourg. So we thought he wanted to do his Viva the following year in Luxembourg, and he decided to wait another year. And that's fine with us. We're not going to count the minutes. Yeah. What matters to us is that you progress at your own pace. You grow with the process itself in order to do something of value to you. So this is what matters to us most. So this is not a rat race. This is not something where we're putting hurdles to kind of make you jump through them. We're trying to build you up, if you want, towards eventually producing this thesis in your own time and on your own pace. And on the digital course, because the courses are delivered online, each module is available in a platform for you to look at your own pace, and you choose the pace. You don't have a timeline on that. This is for you to decide in how long you want to do them, how often you want to do them. So some people may take 6 months, some people may take a year. It doesn't matter to us. The only kind of constraint we have is that the Vivas, the certificates and the Vivas have to take place face-to-face in Luxembourg at the end of September every year. That's the only physical event for everybody to attend.
Where are our students for the digital DBA, for example, Nathalie?
Yes, on this map, this is a map of where the current digital DBA students we have are located in the world. So we got people from everywhere now, from a lot of different places, from Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Africa, East Asia, Europe, and the Americas as well. The people in Canada and in the States. Someone is missing. There's two in the States.
So you can now answer to the question, what degree you will obtain for the face-to-face executive DBA. Business, it is a degree of Business Science Institute, which name is Executive Doctorate in Business Administration, and a separate degree from IAE Lyon. It is the School of Management of the University of Lyon, of the Public University of Lyon in France, and it's a degree from the university. For the digital DBA, Nathalie, please.
So same principle, you can get an executive DBA from BSI, from the Business Science Institute, and from Schema Business School, which is the major partner for the digital DBA, as well as a French university, public university degree, a DBA degree from the University of Lyon.
And again, it is signed by the president of the University of Lyon. Okay, very often, Nathalie, the students ask us, but can I go ahead in the program?
How do I get on the program? Yes.
Yeah, so how can they know if they are if their candidature will be accepted?
Well, the criteria are mainly the fact that you will need a postgraduate degree, so an MBA or a master's degree. This is the entry point, because it is a degree oriented towards professionals, we also expect candidates to have usually about 5 years of professional experience, although some have a lot more. Is it worth talking about? We have people from all ages, and I think the average age of the students of our DBA candidates on all programs is 40 something, 43?
45 to 46.
45 to 46. So that means that many of our candidates have 10, 15, even 20 years work experience, professional experience. So those are the entry points. And they come from all sorts of industries, all sorts of countries, all sorts of backgrounds. And I think perhaps the most interesting or important thing we appreciate is that people are usually very motivated to explore something related to their work or their professional experience, and they have an idea. They want to explore something. So in order to apply, we ask for an initial research proposal, which is a short document in which you explain what is your kind of bug, right? What you want to kind of get into and what you want to understand further based on your experiences and wanting to dig into that further. So this is what the main kind of document you'll have to produce, and it helps you formulate your ideas, and then we look at that, and then it's one of the documents which we ask you to provide when you apply. So on these slides, we ask you to send your CV and other documents, as well as your kind of an outline of what really motivates you and what you'd like to research further, and what you'd want to kind of seek more explanations for through the process of the doctorate. So you produced all this online, by email and online, and then an interview is carried out with an academic member of staff, one of the professors, who you interact with and explore further your motivation and your background and your context and your hopes and your ambitions. And then this is then passed on to the scientific committee, the International Scientific Committee, who then agrees to accept you as a candidate. So there's a process which is quite simple, but it's quite kind of step by step and rigorous from our perspective as well.
Maybe we can also say that this process could be quite a short process. It means that because all the process is online, we are able to answer quite quickly to the students. I can say that it depends, the delay, the time depends mainly on the students, on the candidate. You can have an answer, generally speaking, you have an answer on your CV in 24 hours, 1 day or 2 days. And then the organization of the interview takes less than 1 week because it is online, and all the process is online.
Yeah, and for the when you're accepted for the digital DBA, you start when you want. So it's not like the face-to-face program, which has a starting date, a starting point. But for the digital version, you start whenever you want. So some people start in January, in March, in April, June, whatever. So this is it's up to you to choose when you want to start. I can see there's another question here.
Yes, we've got another question. In terms of the nature of the DBA, if we can do a DBA in HR, finance, management.
The DBA is a management, a general management DBA, and within that there are yes, one thing I didn't mention is that there are core courses, but there's also electives, particularly for the digital DBA. There are electives. So the electives and you get exposed to research in different disciplines of management: HR, finance, information systems, others, strategy, international business, etc. And this is when you register. We kind of try to see what electives would suit your topic the best, and that also comes into the picture when we pick a supervisor to supervise your thesis later on, once you've gone through the core courses.
Yeah, in fact, the specialization, it depends on the students. For a student who is working in the field of marketing, we will identify a professor, a supervisor specialized in marketing. The title of the degree will stay the same, but the topic of the thesis and the research done will be in marketing. Do we have another question?
No.
Eric?
No, we can go forward.
Okay. What are the main distinctive features of the Business Science Institute? I will say that the main characteristic, the main distinctive feature are responsiveness. And when we say responsiveness, we are talking about responsiveness by the support team and also responsiveness by the faculty. And if it is so, it's because we build Business Science Institute with that element as a DNA. We consider that responsiveness is important for manager. You are busy, you are working, you are far from your supervisor. Your supervisor could be in the States, could be in Australia, could be in France, in UK, never mind. So we consider that in all this situation, we have to be responsive. We have another characteristic is our availability. It means that our professor, all the faculty that are involved in Business Science Institute, they consider that availability is a key success factor of our DBA. And last but not least, I will say that the follow-up of the students are in our DBA quite exceptional. It means that students can always have an appointment with one professor, with the director of the digital DBA, Professor Nathalie Mitev, with me anytime, just in asking to the support team, Catherine, Marie-Pierre, Frédéric, 10 people are working for the program now. So these three characteristics are for us very important. maybe there is another thing that it is very important for us. It is the fact that for us, it is not important that you register to the program. What is important for us is the defense of your thesis. The success for us is the day when you present, when you defend your thesis. The registration is only the first step of a 3 years process.
I think there's an answer about what it does it mean concretely, responsiveness and availability. I would just add in and something about average response time. We reply very quickly via email, and you can get an appointment, a Skype appointment, a one-to-one Skype appointment within days. So that's the responsiveness, the availability. In terms of follow-up, we also, you can ask any questions anytime, and there's also a monthly kind of report. You can ask monthly, you can ask questions. There's a kind of regular feedback process there. And often there's questions in there you can ask. And that is often, sometimes it can be addressed by email, by sending you documents or links or explanations or examples. And that can also lead to Skypes. Every time on the digital program, every time you do a course, the courses are structured through videos, and you go through the videos, and at the end of the course, of each module, if you want, there's some kind of self-evaluation exercises you can do online, and some have also essays you write, and then you get feedback from us. We pick up the essays from the platform, and we send you comments. And then after each course, you can always ask to talk to the teacher who taught that course. So for the digital DBA, say the first, I can't remember how many core courses there are, but maybe 6, 7, 8, I can't remember. So you go through those core courses, and after each core course, you can always ask to talk to the teacher of that course.
Okay, thank you. What about the professor?
Michel already mentioned, and we discussed a little bit about the various management disciplines, and all the professors at BSI are all professors, and they all publish and with a lot of experience in many different subfields of and disciplines in management sciences. But we got a few here, and they are spread around. So you got someone from Schema, who's information systems, someone from HEC Paris, she's HR, someone in Canada, I can't remember his area. There's me, there's another professor from Schema, who's information systems, someone from Lyon, she's more entrepreneurship, and then there's someone in Sydney here, for instance, whose area is, can't remember. But there's a range of all the sub-disciplines in management are covered. We got someone who's I can think of another colleague who does supply chain management. There are people who do strategic management. There are all the disciplines are covered.
That's a characteristic of Business Science Institute, because we are an international academic network of faculty. It means that whatever the topic of your thesis, we will be able to identify one professor interested by your subject and available to manage your thesis. That's an important issue.
And someone is asking whether you can switch from a type of DBA to another type. Yes, we've done that. Yes, we had a digital DBA candidate who wanted to move to the distance one.
Yeah.
So we worked out how to do it. So he'd already done, I don't know, 5 or 6 courses on the digital version, and then he moved to the distance DBA.
And another characteristic of the program is about the collection of books that we publish, Professor Mitev.
So we have a partnership with a publisher, so EMS, and they've already published 24 books related to the DBA, four DBAs. There's a series of books. The first three on the left are to help you do the thesis, so how to successfully complete your DBA, research methods for the DBA, and discovering new theories. So those are examples of, if you want, handbooks, but they're specifically written for DBA students. So they're different from traditional research methods books, for instance, very different, with lots of illustrations, lots of examples, and thinking through the managerial implications of your research as well, examples of that. And there's also 24 books published. You've got one example here, Development Program, Monitoring and Evaluation of System Effectiveness. Those are theses which are turned into books. So this is an example of a thesis, a DBA thesis, which was published as a book.
Two comments. I think that we are the only DBA program in the world with such a dedicated collection of books to DBA. It means that these books have been written for the DBA students to answer their demand.
There are other questions being asked here. How are courses being assessed? It is by assignments and participation or by exams. There's no exams. It's only assignments and participation.
You want to answer this question, Nathalie, or do you want me to answer?
I've just answered there's several questions. So I'll start with the first one, which is how are courses being assessed? Is it by assignments and participation or by exams? And there's no exams. We don't do exams.
No, for us, what is important is the final thesis.
Yeah.
In our system, the evaluation is based on the final thesis.
Yeah.
But because it is a degree from the university, of course, you have marks related to the participation, to the seminar, and the feedback that you give to the professor at the end of the seminar. But we cannot talk about exam at the end of each degree, each module or course.
Do you have a supervisor for a DBA in brand management? Well, we've got lots of people in marketing, and I'm sure there's someone who does brand management.
Yeah. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Can someone switch from a type of DBA to another? We've done that one. Just curious, how is Business Science Institute different from any regular university or school? Also wondering if it has any plan to being part of EDBA Council. Do you want to answer that one, Michel?
Oh, yes. We are different because, first of all, we are a network of professors. In no university, you will find 90 professors available to supervise DBA thesis. That's exceptional. That's one point. The second point is we said before that we are very responsive. It's not always the case of all the large and bureaucratic university. That's why we have been created. And that's why we organize a program to answer the demand and the specific organization of the manager, whatever they are. And
the other thing I would also add is that it's a large network, and it also works in partnerships with 3 universities and business schools. So it's a much more kind of responsive organizational form. It's a very fluid way. So we're not tied. We're not tied to term times and at traditional universities. That's quite flexible. It's much more flexible.
Yeah. Also wondering if it has any plan to being part of EDBA Council. I will answer more generally in telling that we are involved in different international accreditation processes, and we will consider that when it will be necessary.
And then there's another question: how far the online DBA afford the French student visa from French authorities?
If we organize a follow-up seminar in Paris, you will have an invitation to come to Paris. When we organize the International Week in Luxembourg, you will receive an invitation to go to Luxembourg. That's the answer that we can give.
And then there's another one. Can you please explain the accreditation in checking KMK, ANAB in Germany, schema, and BSA doesn't seem to be listed. UTS is there. Yeah. Do you want to answer the accreditation issue and certification only?
Oh, there is in Germany a specific organization concerning international degree. What I can answer is that the DBA degree is a doctorate degree delivered by the University of Lyon. In the German system, I think that the University of Lyon is as a code plus or plus plus, I don't remember, but it is the best cost in ranking. But in Germany, the regulation is quite complicated, so it depends on the country to know what kind of degree it. The main question is about the use of the title doctor. Can you put the title doctor before your name or after your name? That's a tricky question, and all the answers are not the same from a German lawyer.
And then it says UTS is H+, but this would seem to be the certification for the DBS. UTS does not award the DBA. UTS awards a certificate. The DBA is awarded by Schema Business School, not UTS, for now. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe I can give another information to the former question. Yes, the University of Lyon is H+, and Schema is H+. No, BSI, Business Science Institute, is not in the list, not yet. But anyway, you have separate degree from the University of Lyon. So there is no problem with the degree, because you receive two separate degrees, one from the University of Lyon and the other one from Business Science Institute.
Is the degree generally accepted to academic track positions at some point later?
You want me to? Let's go.
This is not a traditional PhD. And if you want academic, but full tenured track academic positions, you need a PhD. This is the traditional bureaucratic model of higher education in many countries. There are possibilities of working in academic in business schools. For instance, I'm thinking of commercial business schools in France with a DBA. But a DBA will not be sufficient to get into Harvard Business School. Okay, well, you could get teaching. You could do teaching, but you wouldn't get a tenure track position.
Okay, if you have a look on my book on page 15, you will see the difference between DBA and, no, it's page 19, excuse me. The differences between DBA and PhD. We have to be very clear on that. If you want, first of all, the regulation depends on the country. The situation will not be the same in France, in Italy, in Germany, in Australia, in the States, or in Ghana, in Senegal, and so on. So the situation is very different between the country. That's the first point. The second point, and we have to be, and we are very clear on that on our website. if you want to be a full professor, if you want to be a full professor, like Professor Nathalie Mitev or like the professor who are supervisor, you have to prepare a traditional PhD, not a DBA.
Yeah.
But when the main objective of the DBA is not to permit you to be a full professor in a traditional university. Yeah. But you must know that some of our DBA students, they are working today in business school because of their professional experience, because of their DBA, because of the article they publish, and so on. So the situation is different in the different country.
I can speak about one of the first digital DBA students who finished last year.
Yeah.
He's got a position in a university in Morocco.
And he came from the States.
So, and then he's not at Harvard Business School, but he's doing entrepreneurship education. So that's his passion, and that's why he did the DBA. He wanted to go further into entrepreneurial education, and he's managing that. Yeah. But I don't think he would have got a position at Harvard Business School. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand the kind of the variety of systems, and there are differences in terms of prestige, in terms of traditions, in terms of systems in place in different countries and different types of universities.
The DBA has been created for managers who wanted to use their experience to publish a research, to publish a book. Some of them are going to school or to university, depending on the country and the situation. Yeah. The main objective is not to transform manager in full professor.
Many candidates who come on the course want to develop consulting activities, or even set up their own consulting activities. And often that goes with doing some guest lectures or some workshops or some seminars in business schools near where they live. So you have a kind of consulting / business education role, but that wouldn't be a tenured prof. It would be a combination, which is an interesting combination to achieve.
The DBA, we can say that the DBA has been created to make a combination of competencies, professional competencies, and also conceptual, theoretical competencies. But what is very important in the DBA is to understand that the thesis has to create some impact. At the end of your DBA, you have to put on the table some recommendation. It means that a DBA has to be useful for the doctor, for the company or the organization of the doctor, or to be useful for the society. For us, the impact of the thesis, the managerial and societal impact of the thesis is very important. That's why we have been the first to create an award for the best thesis in terms of impact. We created 2 years ago the DBA Managerial Impact Award. And last year, 3 students, 2 of them were in the track, remote track. One was in the face-to-face track. It demonstrates that the remote track or distance track are also efficient. And they are going to publish this year their thesis through a book.
One of them.
Yeah, and the book are published online and on version paper also.
One of them was working on management in hospitals.
Yeah, for instance. That's quite useful in that days.
Someone is asking whether there are plans for UTS to also offer the DBA in the future.
Maybe in the future.
We're working on
maybe on the future, but it's a long-term perspective, you know.
We're working on it.
I don't answer no, I don't answer yes. I answer that it could take some time. Our partner, Schema Business School, International Business School, EQUIS accredited, ACSB accredited, and also AMBA accredited. UTS, ACSB accredited, and IAE Lyon, Public French University, IPAS accredited. What are the different resources made available to doctoral students? We have, of course, yes, let's go.
There's an intranet Moodle platform, which is a teaching and learning platform widely used around the world by major universities as well. So this is where you'll find videos, PowerPoints, articles that we give you for courses, etc. For the digital version, this is also where you do your assignments, where you deposit your assignments. There's multiple choice questions and essays organized on Moodle. There's also, you have access to major bibliographic databases. EBSCO is one of the biggest, and Scholarbox, as well as CAN. So you have passwords to access those online libraries. So it helps you doing bibliographic research for your assignments, as well as for your literature review for your thesis. And it gives you access to full articles. So you get the articles as PDF files. And then there's also software for data analysis, for qualitative and quantitative data analysis, for Sphinx, as well as plagiarism software for checking your thesis at the end.
Okay, there is a question. It is required for students to have a research proposal as part of the admission process.
It's an initial research proposal. It's not a full research proposal. So yeah. It's 4 or 5 pages, tops.
We want to check that your future research topic is in relation with one field of research, is in relation with an industry, that we want to check that you will use your experience to build your thesis. For us, it's important to check that.
And that it is in management.
Yeah, and also that it is in management, right. Okay. That's a photo. That's the photo in Ville's Castle last year. Any other question? Time is over. Everything is clear? If not, you can always ask us a question and you will check if we answer in less than 24 hours. Before that, I would like to thank you to participate to this webinar for our 2 programs, both a digital program, totally online, and the English track, English group that we will open in Paris at the end of the month of June.
There's another question. Can we please ask for the upcoming start dates for the digital DBA? There are no start dates for the digital DBA. You decide when you start yourself. You can start anytime because you do follow and listen and do the courses online in your own time. So there's no start date for the digital DBA. The start dates are for the face-to-face DBA, because the face-to-face DBA will take place, for instance, in Paris or Geneva or Shanghai, starting in September or in whatever. Yeah. So the cohort, all the people doing the face-to-face DBA in Geneva, for instance, will start in September and do one course at a time in the first year. So the courses are usually during 3 days in Geneva, face-to-face, every 6 weeks. So they are scheduled ahead.
Yes, every 2 months.
Every couple of months. So for the digital DBA, there's no schedule because you do it in your own time. You choose when you do it. You start, you tell us, I want to start in June. You start in June, and then we follow, because when you do watch the videos and then do the assignments, we know you're doing it through the Moodle platform. So we know how long it takes you. And then you can have a break. You do 1-2 modules, you stop because something happens at work. You're busy, something happens, then you can wait a couple of months to do the third module. This is in your own time.
And another question about how to be informed about logistic and administrative issue, or how to apply. You can always send your CV. It is the first step of the application to this address, scientific@business-science-institute.com. All the addresses are on our website. Our website is business-science-institute.com, and you will find the address, you will find the fees, you will find the way you pay the fees, either by credit card, PayPal, or transfer bank. We had a question on that. And all the information, and you will also have a look on videos on the website and so on.
Well, can I ask about logistics? Other logistics. What do you mean by other logistics?
Oh, the logistic. Maybe you mean for the face-to-face group where it is organized and so on. All this information, you have it on the website, or it depends, of course, on the country. For Paris, for example, we organize our seminar in downtown in Paris, in the central part of Paris. And you receive all these addresses and logistic on time.
There's also I don't know if that's what you wanted to know, but there's also, as well as the support team, teaching support team, and the professors, there's also a technical team at BSI, which deals with audiovisual, which deals with the library stuff, which deals with the platforms, which deals with all the issues that we have to run the course.
Yeah.
So there's a technical team as well.
Yeah, that's an important issue that you mentioned here, Professor Mitev. We have one person whose name is Aline. She is dedicated to help the students to find the good article at the beginning of the research. And so it's very helpful, and that's quite exceptional. It's important to mention it.
So she's technical library support. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Does that answer the logistics question?
Okay. If you have any other question, don't hesitate. Just send an email, and we will be happy to welcome you in the Castle of Vils last week of next September. You can come and visit us if you want to see other students. You can also have some contact with other students, doctor or doctoral students. That's also possible. Just ask and we will create the contact. So bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Professor Mitev. Thank you, Nathalie.
Good luck, and looking forward to having you on the course.
Keep safe.